Hi everyone, welcome to the Concept and Pixel Art Workshop. Yeah!
Yeah. Oh, yay.
Okay, we'll be going over concept art. What is concept art? And then we're going to be doing a fun little activity that relates to that. And then after, Roman here is going to be going over the pixel art portion, showing up tutorials, giving out info, and providing useful programs that you can use for pixel art.
You ask?
Yeah. Okay, first of all, what is concept art? Concept art helps define the look and feel of a product. In this case, we're going to be applying this to video games, okay? And a way you can use concept art is from making the concept art sheet and making it into a 3D art model and many more. I'll be showing you the other things you can also do with that later. So I'm going to be mainly going over the doing character art with concept art because that's what I mainly specialize in. But you can use the same logic and apply it to objects and also background art too. Okay? Going to be playing this quick little video. This guy is going to be freehanding and sketching silhouettes of concept designs for a character. And I think you guys should keep this in mind because when creating concept art, it needs to be loose and fun and also creative. Okay? You don't want to be stiff. Let me play that.
You'll notice I try to keep things as neat as possible whenever I do these thumbnail pages, just because that's the way I am.
Can we play it?
You don't have to be super neat about your sketches. Feel free to be as messy as you want. All right, so it looks like this character right here is more of a cloaked warrior. Have everything light. These are a little easier to draw, the cloaks, just because you can have big swooping motions and it takes care of the big wrinkles. However, there's a lot of opportunity here to have something truly unique, more than any of the other types of characters you might draw. And that's because the edges of a cloaked figure offer so many possibilities for silhouettes. It's unreal, and it's a lot of fun too. Even little bits like this with the shoulder coming out and they're a little sharp, like that, and then maybe there's...
Yeah, short little video what this professional concept artist does to make his designs. Okay, now let's get into the nitty gritty knowledge. Okay, first of all, where do you start when making a character or anything related to concept art? First of all, you need to do research. You need to understand what you're trying to make. Okay, for example, the background or their cultural, etc. Okay, and maybe also understanding their personality, like if they're mean, sad, happy, like make sure you incorporate those features into their design. And understanding the background too, can also use trauma as a way of incorporating that into their design. And creativity is difficult to come to. How do you get more creative with your designs? Well, first of all, I recommend you use Pinterest and make a pin board of all the elements you want to incorporate into your design. I also recommend you explore many new concepts. Like, try to make something new of something that already exists too. For example, the Little Red Riding Hood. What if, Little Red Riding Hood was the wolf and the wolf was the human instead? That makes an interesting concept. So, Frankensteining many concepts together to make a new one is the thing I highly recommend to make something original, okay? Okay, next thing is shape language when drawing your design. Boba and Kiki is when associating designs with sounds. For example, when I say boba, I think of very bubbly shapes, okay? When I say Kiki, I think of very sharp shapes, all right? That same logic can be applied to your character designs or anything else. For example, Bowser and Mario. Bowser, he's more sharp in his shapes, and Mario's more round. With the sharp shapes, you can easily tell that Bowser is more likely to be the villain than Mario, okay? Because sharp can also resemble like a knife, you know? All right. And yeah, and also the scaling of the character also helps. Like when you have a small character, they tend to be envisioned as infantilized. However, when you make like a big character, like on a bigger scale, they can seem more intimidating and even godlike. So make sure you incorporate the shapes and scaling the character into your concept art reference. All right. Moreover, color language. A great example of this is Inside Out. Okay? Like when I see the color yellow on Joy, the character in the middle, I think of playfulness, joy. When I see the red character here, I think of angry. Also, it's funny how he's also expressing that on his face. When I see the color blue, especially on sadness, I think of rain and gloomy. So be sure to also incorporate that. And you can also use the colors to associate with the background of the concept, like the personality or like their culture or stuff, etc. or job. Okay, this is like one of the last stages when making concept art is the body language. I recommend to first come up with many sketches like what the guy was doing in the beginning. How he was just sketching up various shapes and silhouettes. This can also help you when you're trying to refine it, okay? Like right here, Jiminy Cricket on the bottom with the X mark, you can't really tell what he's doing there, can you? He's just standing there with his hands in, you don't know what he's doing with his hands, so it's a little confusing. So I recommend to follow the first example up here with his arms more spread out so you can easily tell what's going on in the silhouette. It also makes the character seem more unique and stands out. Yeah, and that's what you want when creating your concept art for video games. You want to stand out, okay? And make sense. All right. Finally, when putting together your concept art reference sheet, you need to incorporate all these things that is shown on this. But to be more specific, you need to have the front, the back, and the side profile. And then when it comes to accessories, such as swords and maybe a gauntlet that's related to the character, I recommend having that section, have its own section, okay? With its own reference as well. And then for something fun, put a rendered piece right next to those references there, all right? All right, here is my example for concept art to 3D model and more. I'm going to be joining the Discord and streaming that right now. So here's me exploring the character designs for this character. And then here's me making a reference sheet for that. The turnaround. I was going to show speed paint how I do it, but unfortunately the stream feature is not working for me. Yeah, and then I'm sending it. And then I'm showing the 3D model process. Okay. So I 3D model it, right? And then I can able to use it to make 2D artworks too. Like I screenshotted it and then I'm able to trace over it. Pretty cool. You can use your 3D models for 2D art too. And then yeah, I think I'll make a video later if you guys want to like go more in depth, but unfortunately I can't stream it for some reason. So yeah. Now let's do a fun activity. Yay! Let's Frankenstein a character prompt together. Yeah, okay. We're gonna go one by one. Does anyone have suggestions for personality? Please raise your hand. We're gonna be making this character together in the concept art reference sheet. Don't be afraid. Yes?
Psychotic.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
Are you able to round it?
Yeah.
Alright. Psychotic. Okay. Next, what kind of job should this character have? Any suggestions? Yes? Therapist?
That'll be interesting.
That's interesting. Okay. What kind of setting do they belong into? Elementary school therapist. That's cool. Okay. Are they an evil character or a good character? Come on, guys. Good? Okay, good. Okay, good.
Can we say ambiguous, like neutral?
Neutral? I'm sorry, someone chose first. We're gonna have to go with good. If you want to be ambiguous, that's up to you when creating your design. Now, let's begin concept arting. If you guys need paper, there's paper here. Need a pencil? I'm sorry, I forgot my pencils. Oh, perfect. Okay, we're gonna put a timer for 15 minutes and try incorporating what you guys learned from these slides.
Oh my God.
And put it on your character sheet. All right.
That looks so
All right. You guys want to do another round, or you guys like to move on? Another one?
Another one? Another one? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Let's go back to that.
And so far,
Is that it?
anybody else?
I think
Yes,
that-
no, maybe so. Okay.
I think that's it.
I'm gonna show you your video now.
Yeah. Go! Okay, let's show the process that I wanted to show earlier, but I couldn't because I didn't know I could not stream on Discord for some reason. Okay, so this is just an example I just wanted to show like how I did it. Basically, I like to block out my shapes first, like quickly skimming over it, and then like I build onto it like layers, like sketching in the features, stuff like that. Oh, it's not zoomed in. Oh, my bad. But yeah, I also made his little accessory, the puppet, as its own little section. Pretty cool. And then right there I have the render piece on the side. And yeah. I think the colors, having the colors on the side too is also helpful for color picking, and the patterns too on the side. I couldn't find a place to put it over here, the pattern, so I just put it right here. And yeah. And then for like, this is one I want to show too, for like making it 3D to 2D, what you can do. So basically, I 3D modeled him, and from there, I can use the model and like screenshot and then draw over it to make something 2D, which is pretty cool, and what you guys can also do. And yeah, that's it. Yay! Let's move on.
Oh yeah, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Roman. I'm the marketing director. I haven't been to meetings in person because I haven't been feeling well, but I'm here now. So yay! And I'm gonna
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna cover the pixel art portion of the workshop. So what is pixel art? You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Pixel art is art made with pixels, typically 2D, but you can do like a 3D application of it. Like I've seen like people like, you know, do a bunch of planes and then have the 3D art made with the pixel art on that. So yes, art made with pixels, pixel art. And then I included a short video on, yeah, I'm gonna stop that. Yeah, here's a short video on like pixel art process. So
Right tutorial series. To help illustrate some of the things in this video, I've created this little pixel art wizard. The process for creating this character was quite simple. I start with a silhouette, then define some features, cleaning up the line work, and adding color before refining even further. Shadow, line, color, refine.
he's a little
Has a
bit
nice
fat.
ring to it. Using a silhouette is my preferred approach because it allows me to focus on the simple shapes and readability. And the silhouette can change a lot throughout as well, but the key shapes pretty much stay the same. Notice how these little areas add interest to what is essentially just a triangle. This isn't the only approach to making pixel art. You can start off with construction lines. This is especially helpful for mapping out the proportions of the character before adding any detail, and it can save you a lot of headaches later on. If you watch our good friend Brandon, you'll notice he likes to use this technique a lot. Thanks for the tip. Another process is to just go wild and lay down a really rough idea and clean it up as you go. I actually really like this, especially for backgrounds because you can nail the vibe early on and just relax as you clean it up. Though it can be a little bit chaotic, especially if you don't know which direction you're going, so you may feel like it's not coming together for a while, but trust the process. You can even design in 2D if you prefer, and then shrink it down. This gives a nice starting point, but the character detail can change a lot depending on how far you shrink it. And these aren't the only ways to make pixel art. Everyone's process is unique. I'd recommend watching your favorite artists to see their process and try out a bunch of ways to learn what you find the most fun. No matter which way you like to work, you can always arrive at the same end point. Canvas size is a tricky one because it really depends on what you're trying to make, the level of detail you need, and the project you're working on. A good exercise for beginners is to try making the same thing in multiple different sizes like I did here. I probably could have went down to the 16 pixel size here because the silhouette translates well and the style is really simple, so you don't lose a lot of detail. But this character is part of an established project where size consistency will be key to make sure things don't look mismatched. If you're a beginner, I would recommend working small to try and get used to the importance of a single pixel. A single pixel can change the way something looks entirely, and this can easily be missed if you work in larger sizes. I have a challenge called September, which is designed to help you get used to the small size limits. Check out this video if you want to learn more.
Okay, he's gonna go on forever, but yeah, this is a little introduction to like a way of making pixel art. So yeah, like he said, determining canvas size. A recommended guideline is usually like more detail, make your canvas larger. So yeah, canvas size is determined by the amount of detail you plan on using. Take into consideration the time frame of your project and the size of your game. And by size of your game, I usually mean like the window size, like how people are going to be playing your game. Because if you made pixel art that was like massive and your game's going to be small, then you're going to lose a lot of the art you made. Yeah. And there's a little example of like the different canvas sizes, like 8x8 is like the smallest one people usually use. And that makes things really easy, but also you can't really see much detail. And then there's a 64x64, which shows you a lot of detail. It also takes a lot more time to do because you're doing everything pixel by pixel, and that's going to be very tedious. And then here's some recommended canvas sizes for character and item sprites. Usually for beginners, 16x16 is what people recommend. But if you want to make, more detail, you size up 24x24, 32x32, really up to your preference. And then some background size recommendations, 320x180 and 640x360. But, like I said, that's determined by the window size of your game, how people are going to be playing it. Because too big is, just make it size appropriate, basically. And then here are some quick little tips. Keep it simple. Keep it simple with a small canvas size and simple designs. Get more complex when you find a good process for yourself. I haven't done pixel art that often, but I know when I first started, the hardest part was figuring out, like canvas size and how much I wanted to do. And I tried doing it like 64x64 for the first time. That was horrible. I wanted to give up. But that's why I say, and most people say, start small, because if you start out big, you're gonna feel a lot of like pressure to like fill in the entire canvas and that kind of thing, and that can be really stressful when it's your first time. And so yeah, keep it simple at first. Maintain consistency with assets. That was briefly mentioned in the process video, but like generally, when you're making a game with primarily pixel art, you want to keep character sprites, item sprites around the same size. So your character is usually the same size as an item, like toolbar, for example. Just make sure that things look consistent, because if things are like missized, it's gonna stand out a lot. Because usually with art in general, people notice the mistakes first, and that's rough. And speaking of art, understanding art fundamentals will help you improve. For example, value, contrast, line, and form. For example, line and form would be like your silhouette and your outline. So understanding like how lines interact with each other, how lines work together to create a form, that's really important to make sure that when you make pixel art, people know what they're looking at. Because if there's too many lines everywhere, it's going to get really confusing and really convoluted and stuff. And then value and contrast, that's mostly when you're choosing your colors for your sprites. Because if colors are meshing together or too similar or too dark or too light, then it's going to make things harder to see. So understanding art fundamentals will help you improve. And then using concept art will help you plan your pixel art. For example, on Aaron's video, there was like a portion with the colors and with the patterns, and then the character turnaround where it's like front, back, sides. That's really helpful. If, like, let's say you have a character on a screen, moving around, you're gonna need multiple angles of that. And so having concept art for that could help you figure out how you're gonna simplify that into pixel art. And yes, concept art is very helpful with pixel art. And then here's some programs that I've researched and also that I use myself. LibreSprite, Pixel, Asprite, and Procreate. The first two are free from what I know, and the first three, those are usually just for pixel art. So Procreate is just any art at all, but it's iPad only. The other ones I think are primarily computer based, like Windows, Mac. So yeah, the first two are free. It's always good to start for free because you don't want to be a beginner and then get something expensive and then you're like, oh, what do I do? I'm lost. Yeah, and then I made a little video on how I do it on Procreate because since it's not really pixel art specific, it can be a little not intimidating, but confusing on how to start that in Procreate. So just a short little video. Oh, it's so quiet. Okay, it's just gonna be quiet. But yeah, for example, this is me starting out with a silhouette at first because I want to make a cat. So a circle, and then another circle. And then on the bottom right, there's a guide on how to do it in Procreate. So I already had it set up, but you go to your settings, drawing guide, turn that on, and then you set your grid size to 1 pixel. And then using your silhouette to get an outline started. Even though the silhouette I had was really rough, I still used it to get an idea of how I wanted my lines to look. And then keep your outline separate from colors. That helps with experimenting with colors. Here. Outline again. So small. Oh, this was. Oh yeah, that little note. It's better to have a color palette already picked out to make things easy because I was just freehanding everything. But yeah. And then I kept my colors separate in case I wanted to pick something else. And then I changed my mind a little bit. And I also moved it around to make it look more equal and to have pixels that weren't entirely even. Yeah, keep that in mind. Did you have something you were looking at while you were? No. I just wanted to draw a cat and I just kept making stuff. But I just had my cat in mind because that's the actual grape. But yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
No, it's not that.
Like
Whatever.
Picture.
Anyways, final result. That's how it turned out. Yeah, the video's a little fast. But yes, that was my process on that. And that concludes the workshop, I believe. Stop it. Yep, that's it. Thank you all for coming. I'm glad you guys participated with the concept of it. And then sign in for it in case you missed it.